Hi, Tuilika.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the whole black thing.
Thank you. It's cold, so you know what they say about black?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
keeps in
yeah.
the warmth.
It keeps the warm thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, how was your day today?
So far, it has been a productive day. Tried to get a lot of things done, but just trying to take it one day at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah,
was a good day.
yeah. That's
How
good.
was yours?
No, mine was good. Mine was
Okay.
good. It was busy
Mm-hmm.
but cold.
Yeah.
So luckily, I was
Did you
working
take a
from.
shower? Be honest.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I did take a shower. Yeah,
Cool.
I did take a shower. I'm used to like not warming up the shower, but
Mm-hmm.
because it's winter, this is the only
Yeah.
time I get to,
Okay.
take hot showers. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm always curious about people's days, especially if they have a
Mm,
lot of stuff like you,
yeah,
like
going
you have
on. Mhm.
the Miss Namibia, you're
Mm,
Miss Namibia finalist.
yes.
You're a medical student. Medical students have it like
Mm,
difficult.
yeah.
Plus, you're also a founder of Dear Girl
Yes.
Foundation,
Yeah.
and there's a couple of other
Purposeful
things you
camp.
do. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, how does a typical day look like
Mm.
for you?
So my days are not very consistent because every day kind of presents a different activity. Currently, so I finished my medical school journey. I'm now waiting to start internship. So it's pretty different now compared to how it looked last year. Because now we are waiting to hear when we're going to start working. Because that's what internship is for us. You actually work the job that's like 8 to 5 or like 8 hour calls and so on. So we're waiting for that. And I'm just hoping that, it doesn't clash with my current obligation, which is Miss Namibia, which I deem equally important in my life. I see it as a career journey that I'm also undertaking. Because at the end of the day, as much as it's a pageant, it's actually much more than that. Because even this looks like it's just a
Yeah,
podcast, but it's part of the job because I get to speak about what I'm passionate about, who I am, and share that with the world in a sense. So yeah, day to day, just get up, try and kind of find myself in the morning, pray, meditate, work out a little bit, have something to eat. Always very important, something I often forget, but I try.
yeah,
And of course, just go day by day. I normally have a schedule that I do every night before I sleep, and I just see what the day presents to me for that specific day. So like today, we had to meet some sponsors and look at some of the designs we're preparing for the pageant. So that was pretty much what we were doing. And we also filmed some videos for the pageant. So overall, the pageant has been taking up quite some time.
yeah.
So in terms of my advocacy work and community work, that is a little bit on hold, but I try to come up with projects and conceptualize plans for the future in terms of that. So yeah.
Nice, nice. I want to ask you a bit of questions about the whole pageant thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
but firstly, I think it's important to get to know someone's past, like how you
Yeah.
started up and everything. Could you give
Yeah.
us sort of like a brief,
In terms of the pageant
like you?
or just me in
Yeah,
general?
yeah.
Okay. As in how I started, like when I was born in.
When you were born, like what happened when you were born? Yeah,
Okay. So I was born here in Windhoek, Katutura State Hospital, on the 17th of May, 2000. And we stayed in Windhoek for a little while until we moved to Walvish Bay. That's where I grew up, and that's actually home for me because that's where I did my primary school, high school, and every other thing before I came to Windhoek for university. So Walvish Bay is not a typical place because it presents its own set of unique challenges in the sense that young people there are faced with a lot of difficulties, pressures from society, especially in terms of drugs, alcohol, teenage pregnancy, prostitution, and so on. So the list is quite long. So it wasn't very easy for me to kind of narrow myself into the path that I wanted. But I was fortunate to have a mother who set a really good example and a really good foundation for me, and also overprotective brothers.
okay.
Consistently grateful for them. So yeah, in a nutshell, my life in Walvish Bay was not really rough. It was quite smooth, and I'm grateful to my family for that. But of course, there were challenges that I had to overcome and so on. So eventually I did get involved with pageantry at a very young age, at the age of about 9. That was my first pageant.
Really?
Yes. And
Wow.
it was such a funny experience because I was alone. The pageant, no one knew about it. I just went and did my thing. Didn't win anything, but I remember they gave us a toothbrush and face cloth. That's cute.
Really?
Yeah, so that was my first pageant. And after that, when I came to grade 6, that's when I started doing well academically. I used to be a D student throughout, DC student. And then, I don't know, maybe I just realized, okay, this school thing is actually important. So then all of a sudden I became the top performing student at my school. And yeah, that's how it started. I got involved into some leadership activities, was the first ambassador for a program in Walvish Bay that's against drugs that is actually founded by inmates. So I used to go to the correctional facility and meet them. And that's how I sort of got familiar with advocacy work and community work and championing for something. Yeah. And then afterwards got involved with NANSO. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, yes, NANSO and all these other student bodies. And yeah, then Vintu came in. Life went on. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. It's always interesting when people tell me their like past story, how they always say like they started really, really young. Yes. So I think it's maybe advice for parents or like young parents starting out that if you see your kid has something, some sort of skill,
definitely
you should try and like prioritize on that
and hone in on that skill so that it further develops. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. But the medical space, like what about it intrigued you?
Yeah. So initially I did not get into medical school because the year of my grade 12, I had to attend a program in the United States for youth leadership. So it was pretty rough because I had to write 2 exams back to back, my first semester and second semester exams. So when I came back, I didn't do so well in the second one. And med school is not the space where they just take you with your C's and what. So I had a C in math, which is a level 3 at the time, in the old system. So they didn't take me. And at the time I had applied for a scholarship for Ellen Gray Ober's Foundation, which I got. And I was ready to go to SA actually to go study there. Some very interesting course that I don't think I would have ever loved.
What course?
Biomedical engineering.
It's almost the same.
It has to go change to medicine eventually if I get into the system because I heard you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank God I got accepted with my end of year exams because I wrote straight ones. So I just got in. They just looked at the results and they took me. So I didn't even have to write letters and all of that. So got in. The reason why I loved the concept of being a doctor or being in the field of healthcare is because I learned very early on that I loved working with people and that I love being surrounded by people, whether it's talking to them, I don't want to say touching them, hugging them. Yeah. I just love people so much. And at the same time, I love acquiring knowledge. I've been an avid reader since I was grade 2. I had a library card grade 2. So all of this kind of pointed to a field that will require me to have lifelong learning. And medicine seemed to be that field. But also I hated sitting by the desk.
Sitting down.
And admin work and finance. So I knew those were not my fields of choice. So when I got into medical school, it made sense. Even the first day I was there, I felt that this is where I was meant to be. But of course, that journey was not the easiest, but we made it. So I'm happy that I'm here now and that I can say that I'm a graduate from one of the best universities in our country that really are producing quality doctors for Africa. Yeah.
Nice. That's really impressive. I mean, most of my friends, when they say they do medicine, they always complain they don't have time to do anything. It's like so busy. But, it makes sense because I was going to ask you, what sort of moved you into the space to do like the Dear Child or the Dear Girl. But the thing is, like you say, I always tell most of my friends, especially the ones that are doing like medical field and stuff like that something like that is a profession that has to be part of your personality.
Definitely.
You can't just, the bar of entry is high, but also it has to be something that you really want to do.
Definitely.
Because it involves people, you need to be patient and everything. Is that somehow what made you start a foundation like the Dear Girl?
Yeah, the Dear Girl Namibia was the first project I started, and it stemmed from the fact that when I went to the States in my grade 12 year, we were taught how to basically become social entrepreneurs and identify problems and identify a cause that we want to fight for. And all that teaching, learning how to pitch ideas, learning how to come up with a actual unique value proposition, all that teaching, I had to make use of it. I didn't want to come back home and not start anything that is, revolutionary per se. So I thought to myself, what is one thing that I really love doing? And I realized that it's mentorship and also championing for dignity, because I myself have had experiences in my life where I felt like because I did not have my dignity, I could not excel well. And this is not a secret in Namibia, where you see when someone's dignity is taken away from them. For example, if somebody cannot afford to buy a bar of soap, that's their dignity taken away. So how can they actually show up fully if they can't even make sure that they look presentable or feel presentable? And that, by that, I'm extending it into now past trauma, past hurt, and people not learning how to deal with that. So Dear Girl Namibia, in essence, was started to allow young women to have a space where they can process emotions, but not only that, but have their dignity restored. So it's not just about donating pads, which a lot of people think Girl Child foundations are, but for us, it's really about realigning women back to their purpose in Christ and teaching them about belonging and sisterhood, which is something that has lost essence so much in our community. And we see how women are honestly the pillars in most homes, especially considering now the current rates of absent fathers, deadbeat fathers, and mothers just being the ones to uphold homes. So it came from that, and we did quite amazing work, especially during COVID-19, where we raised over 75,000 Namibian dollars. Wow. And went out, especially that side of Rundu, and just had a whole conversation. I also designed a booklet that we give out that just speaks on purpose, identity, belonging, and things that you think people know, but they actually have never heard before, especially those in destitute communities. So that's how it has been so far. It has been a bit quiet lately because, I think the thing with NGOs is that it just depends on the season and the ideas of the person running the NGO. Because an NGO survives off of you constantly plowing into it. And if you don't, then it also kind of dies out. So we're trying to come up with different ideas and see how we can continue to push the narrative, basically. Yeah.
Wow, that's really inspiring.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, it's okay.
Especially when I love something.
Is it? Yeah. That's nice. I'm not going to stop you. Want you to just feel free.
Yeah, okay.
I find it inspiring, but also it's like practical, because sometimes you have an idea that you want to help people, but when you get to implementing that idea, you find how difficult it is to sort of get it off the ground. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of people that might be hearing you say this and they want to help with something like that.
I hope so.
What are maybe 2 tips that you could give them if someone wants to start, someone has an idea to help people out? How would they go about it?
I think before I started talking about Dear Girl, I spoke about having a reason to fight for something. And I think that's one thing we should all ask ourselves, especially before you start an idea or a foundation. Are you actually really passionate about it? Because sometimes we start things just for the sake of it. And most times, actually, there's already something that exists that's exactly the same thing that you're starting. So think about it in the sense of, is this thing offering something unique? And I think it's the same as the business concept.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to sell a product to your market that is already up there. You have to come up with something unique. And even in the space of social entrepreneurship, we have to learn to identify problems that we resonate with and find strengths within us that can help us to fight that problem and come up with solutions, of course, instead of just asking the big questions. So I'd say, first of all, discover what the word unique value proposition means and see how you can utilize that to find something that speaks to you and that actually does create impact in the community. And I think another thing again that I want to emphasize is that impact doesn't have to be big. It can be the smallest impact. People will still feel your presence basically in what you do. Whether you start a cleanup campaign, I mean, we always have to have a clean space. So whether you want to start something in healthcare, something with mental health, and please be educated in what you're starting. Because sometimes you find people who will start an organization, be it maybe a mental health related but they don't even understand like that mental health is quite broad. You just saying mental, what exactly are you tackling? Ask yourself the who, why, what, where, how, when.
Specific.
Yes, the specifics and the goal-oriented time frame of everything. So if you just say mental health, are you talking about men's mental health, women's mental health? Are you talking about depression, anxiety, OCD? So all these things, and just find a way to narrow it down. Sit with experts, discuss your ideas with experts, have mentors that will help you and work with you. And I think you'll be fine if you take something like that. Yeah.
Nice. What are some success stories that you could give from the guys?
Yeah. So I spoke about Dear Girl. I think I can also touch on Purposeful Camp, Namibia. That has been quite a success so far. So the idea behind Purposeful Camp is that when we started it with 3 other friends of mine, is that we wanted to create a space for young people where they were detached from technology. That's how it started off, first of all. Okay. And this came up because we felt like our brains kind of shut down because now we're just consumers, but we don't allow our brains to actually create anymore, especially now that we are driven by the dopamine surge so much. So we created this idea in a sense that we want them to go out in nature and bond with nature and think about what they want to do with their lives. Mm-hmm. So far we hosted about 4 camps, if I'm not mistaken, since 2019. And all those camps we've had over 40 participants. Wow. I would normally give sessions on personal development as I'm very passionate about that. And my other colleagues would teach on leadership, public speaking, and financial literacy, which we know are not taught in mainstream education like that. And the idea was also that we actually train people who are younger than us, so that it's just, I cannot have Nick there. And, it's just, So far we have over about 100 and something alumni who are out creating their own change and coming up with their own projects as well. In a sense that we want it to be like a domino effect where I share my knowledge with you and you go out and share it with your community. So that has been very impressive, I think, for 4 young kids who just started varsity. And I think it's a great idea. It's just about, again, going back to the drawing board and having another camp or having another event and ensuring that our schedules basically align so that we can pull another camp off. But the other thing I think I'm also grateful for is the sponsors that come on board. Companies like NWR have constantly sponsored us. The Minister of Mines and Energy has also been on board before. And just other big people who have really helped young kids' dreams come to life and just be a catalyst for change in the community. So, yeah.
I just want to touch a bit on the marketing, maybe the sponsorship side of things. Because most stuff obviously need like money and help from other organizations. How do you go about approaching or how would you pitch something like that to like a sponsor?
Yeah, so definitely with pitching, it's important that you can say your idea in 30 seconds to a minute, which is something that the 4 of us have tried to master so that when we meet someone, the ultimate purposeful experience, we want them to get like that, what is this, So even the way you project your voice, the way you use your emotion to talk about it, and the way you speak about the change that you think this project can bring, that's what people want to hear. Because they don't want to give their corporate social responsibility in something that will not yield anything. So that's how we sort of go about it. But also, it's been tough, especially depending on sponsors, because sometimes you send out emails, thousands of emails, and no one will respond. But I think that's where resilience also comes in and persistence and knowing that one day somebody's going to respond. Because even with NWR, for example, we had to try constantly. And thankfully, someone knew someone, which again is just how things are sometimes. You have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone who can help you build your big idea. So, I think having a good network, as they say, your network is your net worth. And knowing how to speak really well and speak really boldly about what you are selling and writing it down well. Because we had to write various proposals all the time, writing it down well and to the point, not over elaborating. And also saying what you really want. People want to know what exactly they are helping you in. If it's money, just say, I want money. Don't say, help me to get, just say what exactly you want and give an amount, an exact amount for when and how. And that's how people, I think, can trust you better. But also, have a valid bank account, not your own one, because people, official companies don't like sending funds into personal accounts. They'd rather have, the purposeful Camp Namibia account. This looks legit. Let's trust it.
I see.
Yeah.
Nice. So have connections, have a valid bank account.
And
be specific.
Exactly.
Be specific with what you want.
Be specific.
Yeah. About the Miss Namibia, how did you get into that?
So Miss Namibia has always been something at the back of my mind. I did not think I was going to do it. There was a point in my life where I completely stopped doing pageants. That was about 2 years ago, because it just felt like it was a little bit off the route that I was taking for my life, because I wanted to study, go study further, and doctors study forever.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. But since this year, this year seemed like the perfect opportunity, because everything just aligned. Like, we had so much time to do nothing. And I was like, why not go after something I actually love, which is pageantry? And the whole idea behind why pageantry has been so instrumental in my life is that it helped me really come out of my shell. I'm actually a very shy person.
Really?
I'm very, very shy.
It doesn't come
I'm just a yepper. Yeah, but I'm really shy, and I just get comfortable when I talk about something I really love like this. So pageantry has helped me with that, and it has taught me a lot of key things like etiquette, people skills, professionalism, showing up on time. I know I didn't show up on time. You're showing up on time. Just taking care of yourself as a holistic human being, which is something that people don't know about. They think it's just a walk and they're looking cute, but it's actually more than that. It really does refine you as a person, and it really does allow you to see which areas of yourself you get to work on. But even beyond that, the whole idea of you being a beacon of hope, as they say, it also allows you to realize that you have to bring up something that makes sense. We want a Miss Namibia who is fighting a cause, a Miss Namibia who is championing change in the country, not just a Miss Namibia who goes, represents internationally, comes back, and that's it. But we want somebody who a young girl can actually look at and say, oh, okay, it's actually nice being a woman, It's actually it's a proud thing that one can stand tall and say that, okay, she's doing well, I can do it too, and just be that representation and that voice. So because of all these ideas of pageantry, and also because Miss Namibia stands for all these things, especially like they say, calibrating at a higher level of consciousness, I felt like it resonated so much with me and my brand. And I think that, God willingly, it's a platform that I can really use to champion a lot of things that I'm passionate about, but also looking at it from the inside out, something that I can use to really bring in young people and allow their voices to be heard, and create a platform for them, for people to see them. Because there's so many people that have so much talent and so much gift in our country, but people don't see that. I'm not sure if you know of the guy who invented a cell phone that works without the SIM card.
The radio, I think.
Yeah,
but no one
things
saw
like that.
Exactly.
And people never invested in him, not because they didn't want to, but you have not been seen. And media visibility is very important, and platforms like pageantry actually create that, because they create people like us who can mediate that for other young people and create the platform for them.
Nice. Yeah. I like the organic trajectory of you. It's like you started with something you love, and then you started, in like helping other people out, and then organically translated into this. So basically, this sort of gives you a platform to showcase and to help more people organically. It's not like you went straight for that.
No.
It's like it's just a perfect space that you're in, just to elevate whatever you've been doing before, to make it like more.
Thank you. I feel like you get it. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. That's good.
Because it really does feel natural. It feels like this is what I've been doing all the time. Exactly. It's just that now there's a whole sash to it. It's more amplified and it's more strict, but it feels like everything I've been doing all along. Yeah.
Nice. So at the position you are now, if you were to give sort of like a young girl, I suppose, that wants to like enter Miss Namibia as well, what steps would you give her to focus on based on your story?
Yeah. So I would say that first of all, know why you're doing it, because your why is very important in anything. the moment you're just doing it for maybe the show or just because somebody said so, and it applies when you're looking for a career or a partner or anything, it applies. You have to know why you're doing something, and that why should drive you. And it should be the reason why you wake up every day to show up for this thing. Because some days you will not want to go to rehearsals, or you will not want to go meet that sponsor or come up with an idea. The thing with pageantry is that you have to be constantly thinking, how can I present myself in a way that people actually start liking me? Because people have to like you to crown you, you know? So it's really about winning the nation's hearts. And how you're going to do that is knowing your why and showing up every day fully in that. But the other very important thing is that know that this process is going to really, really toughen you up. You really are going to grow a really thick spine through this process, because being in the public's eye is not the cutest thing. People are constantly having something to say, something to criticize. Oh, your hair is this. Oh, your smile is this. Oh, your voice is, they'll always have something to say. And I think anything that involves you being perceived by people will have that. So remember that you will develop mental resilience throughout. Resilience being that you are adapting in the process. You are constantly changing how you see things and how you understand things. But if you are resistant to that resilience, then you're not going to grow. And the process is not going to change you. So you should allow that to happen naturally, so that even if you don't win at the end of the day, there was some growth and there is a new version of you that has been birthed from it. So yeah, there's a lot I can say, but I would just say that if you love it, go for it. But be prepared. Be really, really prepared. As they say, I think there's a saying that says chance favors the prepared mind. So be really prepared and prepare a year before you enter. Know why you're entering everything. Plan an advocacy if you don't have one already. And don't just come up with an advocacy for the pageant. But let it be something that even beyond the pageant, it's a cause that you will fight for. So. Yeah.
Nice. What do you do for fun? I know this is probably fun for you. But like non-serious fun stuff.
So I'm a very boring person, I think. But what I do for fun, I'd say I love doing things outdoors. I love camping, purposeful camp. I love hiking. Anything that includes adrenaline rush, I would do that. Okay. Yes, like zip lining, skydiving.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I also love watching series. I think everyone loves that. I don't know if reading is too serious.
Reading, it depends what you're reading, I suppose.
Okay, I read serious stuff, so it doesn't count. Yeah. I love watching cartoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of cartoon? I mean, in the past, we used to have stuff like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that anymore.
I watch in the past things.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Nice. And I love hanging with friends, having conversations, and going out, checking in on each other and so on. That's my kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Is there any final words that you'd like to say?
So, final words I would say is that, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes the cover says a lot. So I think the final words I would want to really say, and I want people to remember, is that how you present yourself is very important, because people deduce a lot from that. How you sit, how you talk, how you interact, all of that. And these are things that we unfortunately not taught in schools. Because school focuses a lot on just ensuring that you pass the next grade, you pass the subject. So a lot of that is left out. So it's up to you to develop those skills for yourself. And it's up to you to find mentors to train you in that. So in a sense, what I'm trying to emphasize on is have a community that you can rely on, and do not think that you can sail the boat alone, because there will be days where you'll need someone's helping hand. So whether you are in finance, healthcare, modeling, pageantry, or entrepreneurship, anything that requires you to show up as yourself fully, have a team that will sail with you. And I'm sure, as they say, you can't reach the top alone. When you reach the top, pull others along, and all shall be well.
Nice. Beautiful. If someone wants to reach out to you, where can they reach out to?
Instagram is okay. You can DM me, Tuilika Andreas. I actually reply to most of my DMs.
Yeah.
If I didn't reply, then maybe you had a problem. Yeah, I try to reply to most of my DMs. So Instagram, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm not really on Twitter because it's just a lot going on Twitter. LinkedIn as well. I use LinkedIn, but I only post like professional stuff there. And yeah, you can get my number, I guess, if it's urgent.
Ooh,
my
no,
email.
I don't think. Maybe the email.
Yeah, maybe my email, andreastuilika@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Tuilika. This was very inspiring. And
thank you.
Also, it's like, I'm sure it's a lot someone can learn from you, especially young girls and people that are trying to make a change in their, immediate surroundings.
Yeah.
And also, good luck with the
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.